Bishop's Candlesticks. Norman MacKinnell. Title: The distinguishing name of a book or a story. The Bishop's Candlesticks is a play based on Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. This story is based on the central object of a silver candlestick which belonged to the main character, the bishop. It is through the interactions based on the silver candlestick that the story gets its theme. Therefore, the title has been aptly used by the author. Narrative voice. It is how the protagonist tells the story from his or her perception. The narrative voice of the short play is in first person. Setting: the environment in which a story of an event takes place. The play is set in the 1800s in Paris. This was after the French Revolution, during the period of Restoration. The dramatic representation of one episode from the novel Les Miserables clearly shows the condition of the lower class people. Theme is the sense which the author of the story wants to portray to its readers. The story conveys that kindness and sympathy are gifted possessions. A man should always practice kindness. Every person deserves a second chance in life to start over again, irrespective of his past association or deeds. The power of love overcoming all boundaries is one of the key hint or message that has been conveyed through the length of the play. The sinner is not to be hated, but the sin. Plot. Plot is a literary term used to describe the events that make up a story or the main part of a story. The plot of the story opens to show the bishop's kitchen. It is simple and humble, yet substantial. On the mantelpiece are two very good candlesticks which seems oddly out of place in that kitchen. Person, bishop's sister, scolding her maid Mary because she has not tended the fireplace properly and the soup is not ready. It is 11 at night and she is worried about her brother, who has not yet returned. So she inquires with her maid, who tells her that the bishop has gone to visit her mother, who is sick. Person scolds her for troubling the bishop in this manner. Person is further angered when she comes to know that her brother sold the silver salt cellars to pay the rent of a poor old lady. Person wonders what would happen to her brother as all of his savings are gone. As Person rebukes the maid, the bishop enters the house and orders the maid to go home as it is already late and offers his comforter because it is cold outside. My brother sold the expensive silver salt cellars for a poor lady. The bishop: leave now, Mary, it's already late. Take my comforter, it's cold outside. Though Person is angry with his brother, but still she makes him sit and have the soup. She criticizes his brother for being too kind to everyone and warns him that he will be sold off for the sake of helping other people. Though Person is angry with his brother, but still she makes him sit and have the soup. She criticizes her brother for being too kind to everyone and warns him that he will be sold off for the sake of helping the people. Person, don't be so helpful to others. Later in the night, the bishop was reading a book when a convict suddenly enters the house and asks for food. He threatened the bishop that he would surely kill him if the bishop dares to make a sound. The food was in the cupboard. Now the bishop wanted to call Person as she had locked the cupboard. The thief refused to believe this as he thought that the bishop might call the police instead. At last, unable to bear the hunger, the convict was forced to trust him. The bishop finally calls his sister, who then gives food to the traveler. The nervous convict, while having the food and wine, warns them that he would kill them if they made any voice. If you make any noise, I'll kill you both. After some time, the convict started talking about himself. He informs the bishop that earlier he was a good man, but due to poverty and lack of food, his wife became sick. So he decided to steal food and was arrested. He was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. That night, his wife died. The bishop's compassion made him divulge more about himself. Later, the bishop kindly offers him a couch to rest. The convict had other plans. His eyes fell on the expensive candlestick. He waited for the bishop to retire to his room first so that he can steal the candlestick. His plan was successful. While leaving, he bangs the door behind him. The sound awakens Person and the bishop. They came inside to see that the candlesticks were stolen. Person wanted to inform the police, but the bishop stopped her. Now that he has gone to his room, I'll steal the candlesticks. On the other side, the convict's joy was short-lived as a sergeant patrolling outside caught him lurking outside. As he tries to escape from the sergeant, the candlesticks fall out. The sergeant recognizes the candles to belong to the bishop. He arrests the thief and takes him to the bishop. The kind bishop feels sorry for the thief and informs the sergeant that the convict was his friend and asks the sergeant to release him. When the convict was released, he realizes how wrong he was to steal from such a kind person. He feels ashamed of himself and decides to mend his ways. He seeks forgiveness and blessings from the bishop as he embarks on his new journey as an honest man. Plot diagram: an overview of content that provides a reader with the overarching theme but does not expand on specific details. The story starts with a scene where Person, the sister of the bishop, is in conversation with the domestic help Mary. The bishop was an extremely kind person. He had gone out in the cold to visit Mary's ailing mother. Person's anger seems genuine as she is bothered about her brother, who is too benevolent. Person, to her utter shock, discovers that her brother had sold off his silver salt cellars to help another ailing lady to pay her rent. Even after returning, he casually gives his own comforter to Mary so she could go back home without catching a cold. Even though she was convinced that she wanted to scold her brother for being so careless, she made him sit down and have the soup. This reveals the kind of love Persom felt for her brother despite her harsh mannerisms. She scolds the bishop, warning him that one day all their valuables will be sold off due to his ignorance about the people who try to fool him and take all his money. Persom proves time and again how much her brother meant to her. She ensures that the bishop does not stay up late and tire himself. Meanwhile, when the bishop engages himself in reading a book before bedtime, a convict comes into the house and threatens to harm the bishop if he tried to make a sound. He wanted food. Climax. But the convict, driven by his practice, steals the silver candlesticks promptly and leaves. Persom, after finding out about the theft, tries to convince her brother to inform the police, but the bishop stops her. The bishop tells him that Persom had locked the cupboard that had food. The convict was, however, suspicious that the bishop would call the police. Persom was called over soon to unlock the cupboard so that he could give some food to the convict. The convict hungrily eats out whatever he was given. He drinks the wine quickly and starts narrating his own story. He goes on to tell how he was imprisoned for having stolen money to buy food. He recalled how he had a family life and a house of his own, but his wife's illness and lack of food forced him to steal. In the 10 years that he was imprisoned, his wife died. The bishop was kind-hearted, and which made the convict speak more. He starts speaking of the treatment he got in prison. The fortune turned him into a devil. He turned into a beast, and one day he got the chance and escaped, even though he did not have money for food or traveling. So he started stealing again. The bishop kindly asked the convict to rest on his couch for the night and move into his room for rest. Resolution. A while later, the bishop opens the door to see a sergeant enter with the convict. Apparently, the convict was moving in a suspicious manner and the candlesticks were found on him. But the bishop proves his kindness again by telling that the convict is a friend and asks him to be released. The convict truly has a change of heart. He realizes that the same man who had given him food and shelter also protects him from getting arrested, in spite of the fact that he had robbed him. The kindness of the bishop truly overpowers the heartless convict's feelings. Symbolism. An author uses different subjects in order to symbolize or depict the meanings within the story. The silver candlesticks stands for the poverty and humility of the bishop, as it was his only worldly possession. It also becomes a tool of redemption for the ex-convict who is granted another chance to prove himself, transform himself from a thief to an honest man. Character analysis. A character is a person or creature that interacts with others within a story. There are different kinds of characters in stories and different ways to describe them. Central characters. The bishop, Person, convict. Character analysis. A character is a person or creature that interacts with others within a story. There are different kinds of characters in stories and different ways to describe them. The bishop is the major character in the play. He is kind, religious, and a very generous man. He believes in forgiveness. This is seen when he forgives the convict in spite of the fact that he had stolen the silver candlestick. He believes in giving chances to people. He believes that kindness and love alone can conquer the coldest of hearts. He always tries to solve others' problems, even if that meant discomfort of his own part. He sold so much of his property to help others. Unfortunately, most people exploited his kind nature for getting easy money. Lady Pursom is one character who has various layers to her personality. She is the bishop's sister. She has been portrayed as an angry woman, but contrary to her stern exterior, she is very caring. She is practical and far-sighted. She warns her brother that one day he will end up selling everything just to help people who are actually fooling him. The convict represents the common man of the society who are burdened by needs. The story of the convict states that he was a normal man with a family life from the darkness of the prison life. The convict represents the common man of the society who are burdened by needs. The story of the convict states that he was a normal man with a family life far from the darkness of the prison life. Life in prison had an immense negative effect on his personality and turned him to a shady, selfish man. The bishop's belief in the goodness of human beings brings back the convict's faith in human beings once again. Critical appreciation. Critical appreciation is when a reader examines and evaluates a piece of literature from a discerning point of view. Narrative voice. The narrative voice of this short play is in the first person. This short story is based on a novel. Setting. Set in the 1800s in Paris, this was after the French Revolution during the period of Restoration. The dramatic representation of one episode from the novel Les Miserables clearly shows the condition of the lower class people. Theme. The story conveys that kindness and sympathy are gifted possessions. A man should always practice kindness. Every person deserves a second chance in life to start over again, irrespective of his past association or deeds. The power of love overcoming all boundaries is one of the key hint or message that has been conveyed through the length of the play. The sinner is not to be hated, but the sin. Symbolism. The silver candlesticks stands for the poverty and humility of the bishop, as it was his only worldly possession. It also becomes a tool of redemption for the ex-convict who is granted another chance to improve himself, transform himself from a thief to an honest man. Character. In this play, there are a number of characters. However, the three principal characters are the bishop, his sister Persom, and the convict.